I have gone through every single training method for Magic, not just to see which gives the most experience, but also which gives the most profit too. And we always start with the best experience per hour and end up with the best money maker in a skill, although that doesn't always mean they are the best to train, as the skills in the middle can sometimes be very good experience and very good money, making them the best all-round way to train. It will surprise absolutely no one to learn that the fastest experience you can get in Magic is barraging the mechanical monkeys, which you can access after completing the Monkey Madness 2 quest. What may be a surprise though is I tried both methods, one stacking the monkeys and the other picking a spot in the very centre where the spawns are and auto casting whilst being AFK. Since you hit 8 or 9 in the AFK method, it's actually the better method and the faster XP this way, as you lose more XP taking the time to actually stack the monkeys. This method can get you a massive 292,000 experience per hour, but will cost you a whopping 1.9 million GP at the same time, which means the 13 million experience that you need for 99 would cost you 84.5 million. Obviously you can't train this way at level 1 Magic, but that is just to give you an idea of how this compares in cost to other skills. And if you don't have the level 94 needed for Ice Barrows, you can actually start doing this method as low as level 62 with Smoke Blitz. The next skill I tested is the least profitable after that method, but it is still barraging, and that is because there is an efficient way to do it so that you don't lose 1.9 million GP per hour. So I tested it on Greater Nechrils in the Catacombs of Korent to see how the XP and cost compared when you were actually getting drops to pick up. You don't come to a place like this and barrage to pick up junk, so the only thing I picked up was rune items, stackable items such as runes, mystic staffs and high value seeds and herbs. Surprisingly, I thought this would make a loss, although much less of a loss, but it actually makes a profit. To add to that, it is still an extremely good 196,000 experience per hour, and it makes a tidy 247,000 profit as well. And if you don't have the Slayer to kill these, Dust Devils are also a decent alternative. When you look at the difference between barraging cost effectively or not, it's very hard to justify the higher XP rate for the difference in cost. The next most profitable thing I tested was Soft Clay, using the level 68 Lunar spell Humidify on clay to make it into Soft Clay. The best thing about this spell is it targets everything in your inventory, meaning you make all of them at once. It also works on things like water skins, jugs, and buckets to fill them with water. The animation takes a while, but is still an extremely quick method, and I turned 999 clay into soft clay in just 3 minutes and 52 seconds. This method will get you 33,000 experience per hour and will make you 460,000 GP at the same time. Not too bad for a fairly low level method, but a world away from the XP we got in the first two methods. So I decided to test Giant Seaweed. With the help of the Lunar spell Super Made Glass, it turns it into Molten Glass. By holding 18 buckets of sand and 3 giant seaweed in your inventory while casting that spell, it will turn those items into the Molten Glass. The amount you get varies, but it averages out at 28.8 per cast. That means that sometimes a lot will drop to the floor if you have a good proc, but simply leave it there for the bots, as trying to pick it up will slow down your XP and your profit per hour. After testing this method, I made 4,350 molten glass in just 25 minutes, and this worked out to be 33,000 experience per hour, and it made a profit of 525,000 at the same time. Again, another good low level money maker, but it wouldn't tempt most people away from cost-effective barraging, however the last ones may. The next method I tested was combat, and a favourite of many people, and that is of course barrows. If you haven't done barrows before, it's really simple and very doable even at a fairly low level, as most of the brothers have no magic defense whatsoever, which is why you can actually wear mainly melee armor whilst doing this. I went in with a fairly cheap setup in this method, the type of setup I expect most players here to have. In a similar way, I used a 50 million setup to barrage just to try and keep it relevant. I managed 12 chests in that hour, and I am almost maxed in combat and gained 21,000 magic experience. I made 316,000 from the runes, and then I worked out the average amount you get from armor in the chest, as me being lucky or unlucky on the 1 hour run would completely mess up the results. And for 12 chests that worked out at 320,000 GP. That means the average loot per hour at barrows with my setup is 636,000. However, whilst barrows is extremely fun, most players will not have my stats, and I also have Mauritania Hard Diary unlocked, and that gives you double runes from the chests. That means for low level players it may be as low as 300 to 400,000 GP per hour. Finally, moving on to the really profitable methods, and next is solo mission, Zulra. Sorry solo, but don't worry, you'll probably never watch this anyway. I decided to do the mage only method here, which to be honest I'd never done before, but I wanted to maximise the magic experience, and I again used the basic setup most players would use here. In 1 hour I did manage 15 kills, and rather than use the drops I got, I used the wiki to get the average drop value to make sure the results were correct and fair. What I would say is the mage only method sucks. You might as well do mage and range, because all it does is slow down the kills, and you probably don't gain much more experience in magic anyway, since you rarely hit on the mage form. This method gained 17,000 experience per hour, which is not the best, but it did make an impressive 1.08 million per hour, and if doing the mage and range method, you can easily add another 400k per hour on top of that, as well as gaining some range experience at the same time. The last and most profitable method may or may not surprise you, and you are going to need the wiki to help you on this one. On alchemate.com it shows you the best items to high out for the maximum profit, but it also shows you the items that are selling well below the alch prices by unsuspecting sellers. Now you can't always snipe these items, but when you do it will make you a massive profit. The site does update very quickly, and using it I managed to snipe 7 Thorax legs for 90k each, which actually high out for 165k each one, making me 525k from those items alone. However, most of the items you buy will have a profit of just a few hundred GP, and what you will find is the more money you have, the more money you will make. Things like dragon items cost a bit more, but you make more by alching them. It's also faster to right click on your high alchemy spell and toggle the warning to a higher value, so it isn't stopping you every single time to warn you about the cost of the item you're alching. The items and high alchemy runes cost me just over 43.5 million, and afterwards I had just under 44.5 million in just 45 minutes. Making this the most profitable method with a profit of 1.2 million GP per hour, as well as getting 77,000 magic experience. Finally something to rival those top methods, as well as making a ton of money. To add to that, it has really low requirements, and even though you may not snag those barrows items like I did, and the fact that you may get more kills at Zulra increasing that profit per hour, the magic experience you also get in this high alch method makes this a very good method, and in my opinion worthy of the top spot. Of course, that doesn't mean this is the method that you should do or you have to do. It is completely your choice. The one thing that I haven't included in all of this is the fun factor, and I know myself, I will still go to barrows, I will still go to Zulra. Is it an efficient training method? No, but it's incredibly fun and more exciting to try and get that one valuable drop. That is all the best methods in Magic. I will have another money maker video out for you next week, and I will also be doing this in another skill in the next few weeks.